Hi guys, it's me, Amanda Stratton, and this is my hypothesis presentation. Here's some pictures of some video game consoles and computers, another thing you can play video games on. So, here's my hypothesis. For some time now, there has been much debate relating to whether or not technology affects children of all ages in a positive and negative manner. I believe that technology such as video gaming, whether it be on a computer or gaming consoles, more specifically violent video games, does not, in fact, have a major impact on children's behavior. Here is a graph proving that even though the sales of video games has soared throughout the years, you can see it's from 1996 to 2004, that the sales of the video games have been rising, but the violent crimes have been declining. And same with this graph. The violent crime decreased dramatically from 1998 to 2011, while the video game sales soared and more than tripling in sales. I chose these two graphs because I thought they were a well representation of showing a visual component to anybody who's willing to watch this, that this is in fact partially proof that just because children play violent video games, it has no main focus on their violent tendencies. There is absolutely not 100% proof. It's just political opinion, personal opinion, and for me, it is personally the way the child is raised on whether or not they tend to become violent after playing violent video games. This is just another graph or chart to depict the same idea. Violent video game consumption is the red and the youth violence is the blue, and as you can see, the blue has been decreasing over time. Video games can actually be beneficial. They can improve focus, they can improve problem-solving skills, they can boost creativity, they can reduce stress, they can help with memory, and there's growing evidence that kids who previously showed little interest in reading and writing are now acquiring advanced literacy skills through the text-based communication in online video games. I think it's fantastic to have children at young ages become used to video games, whether it be on a computer or, Xbox, Wii, or Wii U, or PlayStation. There's games out there that can help children. I mean, even children with disabilities, there's more time for improvement for them to learn to grasp the concept of, hand-eye coordination, or, oh, this is so cool, it can liven up their mood. I know with my children, they play Minecraft, they play Call of Duty, they have a wrestling game, they have basketball, we have the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, the Wii, we had a PlayStation 2 a long time ago. They have all these different consoles, and they have the computers, of course, and I do agree that they have improved their focus and their problem-solving skills. They definitely have a ton of creative ideas. Minecraft is a wonderful game for creativity. Let me tell you, I don't personally understand it. I don't have the patience for it, but my children, they can sit there as long as I will allow them to play it, and they will come up with ideas. They build worlds, they build cities. They take care of animals. It's just, I mean, they can fight in Minecraft too. I mean, I've seen them hit each other. But just because they hit each other in the video game does not make them aggressive or act violent after they're done playing the video game. I know for my husband, he likes to play the wrestling, and that helps reduce his stress. So, from my personal experience, I see no connection between violent video games and children becoming violent. I just don't. My kids play Call of Duty nonstop sometimes, and they don't want to go out and shoot somebody after. They don't want to go out and start a fight. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Video games can also provide bonding time. My husband loves to play with the kids. I play every once in a while. I'm not too good at the game, so I usually leave that to my husband and the kids, but they love to play with each other on the gaming consoles. They love to play with their friends, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins. It's a wonderful experience for them to get bonding time, especially on those winter days or rainy days and they can't get outside. This is a short video that supports my claim that violent video games do not lead to violent behavior. I chose this because I feel and believe that the man who made this video is totally true. And it's kind of an entertaining video, so I thought you guys might like it.
So let's take a look at this link between these recent teen killers and video games. Violent video games increase aggressive behavior as much as lead exposure decreases children's IQ scores.
Where is the artistic value of shooting innocent victims?
They put guns in the hands of little kids and teach them how to kill.
He was trained to kill with Call of Duty and other video games. Is it true that violent video games make people more violent? I'm a professor of economics at the University of Texas at Arlington and a casual gamer. I'm also a parent of children who enjoy video games, and I was curious to find out if video games could cause them to harm others. So I did some research. I conducted 3 studies to investigate the link between real-world video game usage and actual crime or fighting. These studies used different methodologies and different data sources, and in all 3 cases, I found that more video game playing is actually associated with less real-life violence.
That's right, less real-life violence.
A 100% increase in violent video game consumption led to a 1% statistically measurable decrease in violent crime. Okay, that's not a big decrease, but it undermines the claim that violent video games increase violence. So how could virtual violence decrease actual violence? One theory is catharsis, which is to say letting off steam. One might vent violent impulses through a video game rather than upon an actual person. Another theory has to do with time management. Even without a cathartic effect, every hour that people are sitting at home playing video games is an hour that they're not out on the streets getting into trouble. I'm not alone in my findings. Recently, other researchers have published findings that cast further doubt on the link between violent video games and actual violence. But all this means that, however well-intentioned the calls for restrictions on violent video games are, as a society, we would be censoring games based on a mistaken belief that they cause violence, and could actually be leaving Americans exposed to more real-life harm. And calls for such censorship continue, as in Congress's recently proposed Video Games Ratings Enforcement Act, and the 2011 Supreme Court case Brown versus Entertainment Merchants Association. And there's even more at stake if we were to allow this censorship. Video games have changed a lot in the past 30 years. What were once simple black and white blocks and nearly indiscernible images flickering on a television screen are now lifelike beings whose actions we experience on a visceral level. Some games now tell stories and evoke emotional responses similar to the finest literature, film, or theater. And video games are perhaps the fastest developing form of artistic expression ever devised. The artistry and techniques used by game creators continues to expand and evolve rapidly. Restrictive legislation would curb the freedom of artists and possibly stop valuable stories and content from ever being shared. Contrary to popular belief, youth violence has steadily declined over the past 20 years, exactly when video games have become popular. This is hardly consistent with the idea of games causing violence. When people are violent, it's not because games made them that way.
Exactly. When people become violent, it's not because video games made them that way. That is the best statement that I could try to get out there. From my personal experience, from doing some research, of course there's more research out there on the negativity of violent video games or video games in general. But there needs to be more research on the benefits, the positives. There's so much more out there that people could focus on, but we as a society usually focus more on negativity and go from there. This has been my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is my reference page, and that is all I have for you. Bye!